After the 1929 stock market crash, the United States experienced a historic economic collapse known as the Great Depression. As unemployment and poverty skyrocketed, many blamed the president for the crisis. Herbert Hoover had been president for less than a year when the market crashed, and by the end of his first term, almost a third of Americans were unemployed. Without jobs, many people were unable to keep their homes and had to resort to living in slums. These slums were nicknamed Hoovervilles, reflecting the blame many Americans placed on President Hoover and the Republican Party for the Depression. By 1932, Hoover and his Republicans were punished by voters for allowing the situation to get so bad. In that year's election, voters overwhelmingly picked the Democrats and their presidential candidate, Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Roosevelt promised Americans a New Deal that would lift them out of poverty and get the economy running again. But just what type of New Deal did Roosevelt have in mind? Remember that the 1929 stock market crash caused private companies to go out of business and lay off their workers. This created an unemployment crisis because although many people were willing to work, there was no one to hire them. President Roosevelt's idea was simple: use the federal government to hire workers for public works projects. By raising taxes on the wealthy and using the money to pay workers, Roosevelt knew he could help ordinary Americans provide for their families while also completing projects for the public good. Not only did this get Americans working again, it also led to improvements in infrastructure. The New Deal created jobs to build roads, bridges, parks, tunnels, airports, and dams. All of these public works projects improved the country's infrastructure while helping to lower unemployment at the same time. So, did it work? A quick look at unemployment data gives a clue. After the stock market crash, unemployment skyrocketed, but that trend reversed starting in 1933, precisely when Roosevelt increased government spending on public works projects. In 1937, Roosevelt cut back these programs due to political pressure, causing unemployment to increase. But by the end of the decade, government spending was on the rise again. A frightening new threat had arisen in Europe, where Hitler and the Nazi Party were growing in power. In order to fight this dangerous enemy, the US created a war economy, spending more money and creating more jobs. By the end of World War II, the Great Depression was just a memory.